welcome to Spider-Man Up, where we have a look at the 1967 Spider-Man animated series in all its cheap and glorious glamour.
On today's episode, we start things off with the power of Dr. Octopus, where we find Peter Parker driving down the tastiest looking ice cream scoop of a mountain I've ever seen.
You should see my ex.
Hardest pass.
Peter is grumbling about Jameson sending him out here in the dead of night to look into some strange lights that have been seen.
Really, it's probably just JJ trying to get rid of him and maybe kill him, because Peter immediately is intercepted by a huge boulder careening down the mountain and straight up drives his car off the cliff. Luckily, he lands safely on a giant Wile E. Coyote tree branch. Convenient.
He then pulls out his Spider-Man costume and puts it on, enabling him to use his fucking powers, I guess. And he starts to solve his tree situation in typical Spider-Man fashion.
By shooting a bunch of webs and then just watching them work, I guess? Whoa. He lowers the car down to the road using his psychic powers, or something, somehow. That activates a secret cave entrance. Again, somehow.
Just then, he's scooped up by a very slow, big old net made out of chains, trapping him but good.
And we get the glorious animated reveal of Spider-Man's greatest villain, Dr. Octopus.
It looks like Roddy Piper.
He's a grown man dressed in pajamas and living in a cave. He also has the most painful-looking camel toe I have ever seen. Yikes.
I think his pants are the real hero of this story, holding everything together against all odds. He has a good gloat over capturing Spidey and plays him a nice little PowerPoint while laying out his big plan, which is to just blow shit up.
They try to make him into kind of a good guy here by letting us know he's given JJ a word to evacuate the area.
He should have the letter by now.
But come on, dude. Just because they aren't standing there in the exact moment doesn't mean it's okay to destroy someone's whole neighborhood.
Oh, and it's such a friendly neighborhood, too.
And we have to stop and appreciate Spidey's reaction to the imminent destruction of a good chunk of New York City.
Who won't scoff when I've wiped out this whole section of the city? That's where I live.
Anyway, the closer this camera gets to this Doc Ock, the worse he seems to look. He's somewhere between Elton John and Clayface right now.
Jameson gets the letter and promptly dismisses the warning as a prank.
When you've been a fearless publisher like me for so many years, you'll realize the woods are full of cranks.
Then accuses Peter of being a slack-off teenager.
It's about this time that Spidey finally nuts up and breaks the links around his hands. An impressive feat, no doubt.
But totally anticlimactic. He finishes freeing himself just as Ock bursts in to catch one of Peter's classic zingers. And by zingers, I mean dad joke that only sort of makes sense.
Ock slams his claws at Peter for a bit, but Peter manages to wrap him up in some web,
which the tentacles immediately snap through. Peter uses the moment to make a break for the doors, but Ock seals him in and drops a cage down on him from absolutely nowhere.
Didn't we see him catch a steel beam with his fingertips in the intro? Shouldn't he just be able to,
Shh.
Oh, it's that kind of show. Oh, okay, I get...
Then we see Betty out in her car on Fudge Mountain looking for Peter. She finds his car and is immediately accosted by a passing police officer. Is this guy just, walking around on the mountainside? Hiking in full cop gear? Is there a car somewhere? A patrol car? What's his deal? This guy's probably a serial killer.
This is peak Spidey nonsense already, and it's only episode 1.
So anyway, she manages to open up the doors to Ock's mountain man cave, too. Again, purely by accident. He has no security, guys. He's very lonely. If I blow up everyone's house, they'll have to come visit me.
He snaps Betty up, too, and cuffs her to Spidey's cage. Things are getting unnecessarily kinky in this cave.
In a tentacle pajama man's secret cave? I think you should have expected this. In that vein, Ock takes an opportunity to show Betty the slideshow. He must have worked really hard on it.
He says a bunch of bullshit and claims that it'll knock down the whole neighborhood.
Peter can't afford to replace his dumpster salvaged furniture and makes a plan to escape. He webs the cage controls, which for some reason unlock his door, and then he has another dance fight with Ock's arms. How will this one end?
Ock throws a big bag of goodies at Spidey. He tries dropping a big stone on him. He tries giving him a good zip-zap, but Spidey comes through unscathed.
Betty, quite rightly, begs Spider-Man to do something.
Do something, Spider-Man!
But instead he, cha-cha slides around Ock's zappers.
He climbs up the wall, a good start. He's known for that. And he makes his way up to Ock's giant Wonka fan in the ceiling.
And then Ock immediately turns it on, sending Spidey flying around in circles in a hilarious fashion.
Knocking Peter out cold. Didn't this guy fight the Hulk at some point?
He sure did. Back at the Bugle, things are biting JJ in the ass. Who could have thought a journalist ignoring threats from supervillains would have a problem? He should have taken the note seriously, or at least did anything at all. He's getting bombarded with calls about Ock's machine playing havoc with the utilities. He's also really regretting the incompetent teenagers only hiring policy.
Back in the cave, Betty tries to wake up Spidey as Ock watches the destruction on his computer. And boy, can this man laugh maniacally.
Yes, yes.
He's born for it. So Spider-Man comes up with this plan. He says he'll sploot some of his web onto Betty's wrist and tells her that goo that comes out of him will harden into the key for her handcuffs. And she just lets him do that.
This gives her the idea for the next Saw movie and she writes it down. And also it works. Spidey gets another shot at beating up Doc Ock.
And this time he's not messing around. He covers Ock's face with his spider goo, and Ock gives up pretty easily. I think out of sheer gross-out horror. Did you see that stuff? It was freaking gray. Spidey is very sick.
Then we see the next morning. Betty is trying to explain to the cops what she just went through, and up walks Peter Parker.
Betty's like, oh my gosh, Peter, you missed out on all the fun kidnapping. And the police officer goes and checks on the doctor.
He finds Spidey's calling card with really excellent penmanship. And we cut to JJ's office. He's giving Peter the what for being an absolute shit journalist.
And he, of course, blows his top when they mention Spider-Man. Just flails around mad. Good old J. Jonah Jameson. Never change, my man.
After a little theme song fanfare, we move on to the next story in this episode, entitled Sub-Zero for Spidey. Sounds like a sexy Mortal Kombat crossover fanfic.
I've read that one. Sub-Zero is a barista that specializes in iced coffee, and Spider-Man is a Skrull.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, this one starts out with Peter having a nice stroll on a scorching summer day.
When he takes a big tumble down on a patch of ice and lays down to die. Man, this version of Peter is kind of all around useless.
More than. He starts snapping some pics of this sudden winter wonderland when he hears an extremely old voice calling for help.
Peter realizes it's the guy he's out here to see. Convenient. Dr. Smarter.
Dr. Smarter. Because calling him Dr. Genius would have been a little too on the nose.
Because Dr. Average Intelligence doesn't have the same ring to it.
We zoom over to the old man and see that he's being towered over by some kind of ice golem.
Old Pete decides to put on his red and blues and get to work, taking a moron-strength leap through the window of Smarter's house. Surprise!
He starts with the webs, which apparently never ever works in this particular multiverse.
And the monster retaliates by sending some icicles Spidey's way.
Wallop, web snappers are being bombarded by icicles.
And no, we did not alter the sound effects. He really just bloops him out of his wrists for whatever reason.
Everybody's got some sort of wrist gloop, huh?
The animators learned one superpower, and they're gonna use it, damn it. The monster makes an escape, and once it's gone, Spidey bravely goes to help the old man up off the filthy floor. Man.
They piddle-paddle around the room trying to make sense of this frozen linebacker they just saw, and Spidey heads out to track him down.
We get some nice web swinging action, finally, and Spidey spots the ice dude from the top of a building.
The Iceman spots Spidey too, and freezes the whole skyscraper trying to get to him, which makes the building start splitting into two pieces and collapsing. Kind of a high body count for a kid's show, but what do I know?
Spidey makes his graceful escape, and look, he runs like a theater kid. And we cut back to JJ's office. He's fielding calls about the iced-over city and, of course, chooses to believe none of it. Is that a thing in this cartoon? JJ's the only guy in a world of costume super people who's a skeptic? You just saw that chupacabra, Scully. How are you still so far in denial?
In walks Peter with pictures to prove the calls are real, but he gets interrupted by a call telling JJ that there's a dang old iceberg in New York Harbor. You know, the glacier is actually a metaphor for the pacing of this episode. Frozen and going nowhere.
Gee, Roy, that was one cool observation. And he sends Peter out to check it out, since the Bugle has only 2 employees. So Pete dons the Spidey suit and goes to check on Dr. Smarter Than You.
And it seems like Smarter forgot his pills that day, because he jumps to the conclusion that the Iceman must come from Pluto. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Just then, Smarter's bedroom walls start to crack apart, and 2 more friggin' Icemen come through, Kool-Aid Man style.
Smarter starts asking for help from anyone at the top of his raspy voice.
Because he saw Spider-Man's performance at the last rescue, and knows he'll be pretty useless.
And he is. He gets frozen in some dirty street corner ice, and they do the same thing to the doc, and steal him away.
Black ice is dangerous, but at least it's not yellow snow. They take the doc on an adorable motorboat ride to their iceberg lair in New York Harbor, as Spidey waits for the ice to melt and free him.
He very cleverly deduces that they've got to be at the iceberg, and starts to get a plan together.
Peter straps some dynamite to his chest, his manifesto tucked into his back pocket. He checks his vape, and heads out to save the day.
Spidey swings over to the harbor and sneaks his way into the iceberg, trucking through a cave until he falls down an ice-evader shaft.
This thing immediately tries to kill him. The walls of the cavern start to crumble around him, and he tries to use his barely functional Spidey senses to narrowly avoid being crushed.
After a few more icy hijinks, he ends up finding Smarter, who is currently being unfrozen.
Spidey struggles into action, though, and before he can do anything, the doc stops him. Turns out that Smarter was right all along. These little frosties are from Pluto, for some reason.
It turns out they had just gotten a galactic-sized flat tire and had to drop down into the harbor.
Smarter is eager to try out some crazy shit he just invented, and bada bing, it works immediately. The Iceman ship shake off the frost and takes off into the sky.
Spidey snaps a pic as they're lifting off and rushes it back to Jameson, who is completely put upon by the, whole truth of the situation.
Truth. A journalist's worst nightmare. The episode ends as it should, with a man who has that kind of mustache hanging his head in shame.
So, Irma, what did you think about this first episode?
Not a great first episode, in any respect. Love Doc Ock, love his pink jammies, but, Spider-Man's pretty sad. Like, his voice is of a grown, 50-year-old man, but he's supposed to be, 16. 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10, man. I hope any of these are better. I hope the lizard's in some of them.
If you are a fan of superheroes and their powers and their origin stories, this is not for you. Do not watch this. You're gonna get real mad. You're gonna get real pissed off about the inconsistencies. You're gonna wet your little pants about something. I just know it. Please don't watch it. If you like stupid cartoons from the 60s, please keep watching. Because this is peak 1960s children bullshit.
I mean, really just watch for the theme song, because it slaps.
Iconic theme song. Theme song, 10 out of 10. Episode, for this series, I've actually developed a nice rating system that you'll enjoy.
Oh, I bet not.
Okay, so here it goes. A bad episode, that's gray goo.
Dare I ask what a good one is?
A middle episode, that's the regular old white Spidey goo.
Okay, now I'm afraid.
And a great episode is the kind of episode that will shower me with golden goo.
Spider-Man has no golden goo. Oh, wait, he probably does. Oh, no, I know I'm thinking about it.
Now you've invented a multiverse Spider-Man that shoots golden goo.
You did. Don't make me a part of this.
No. I just said golden goo exists. You said there's a Spider-Man somewhere that does it. It's your fault.
Pretend you didn't hear that from him. He didn't give a review. He's so flabbergasted and stupid and dumb in his cake. Join us next time for more Spidey fun on Spider-Man Up.
And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We appreciate it very much.
Bye.
Goodbye. Got some goo in my mouth.
Good. Wait, what color?